good to see you. It's so good to see you. How have you been? I'm glad we could set this up. What's been going on with you? Oh, well, I'm sorry to hear that. It must be really tough to feel that way. You want to talk about what's been on your mind? You know I'm always here for you. Yeah, of course, take your time. Share whatever you're comfortable with. Yeah. You know, that all sounds really challenging. And I think it's understandable to feel that way. Especially when it can feel like there are so many pressures that we have to deal with. But I want to remind you that you've accomplished so much already. And you're more capable than you give yourself credit for. No, I get it. It can be difficult to see our own strengths when we're feeling overwhelmed. But you're not alone in this. I believe in you. When you say that, it sounds like you're putting a lot of pressure on yourself to be perfect in so many aspects of your life. Nobody's perfect. And we all have moments of doubt. I'd say that's quite natural. And you're still a wonderful person. And I'm happy to call you my friend. Yeah. Self-doubt can really be tough to deal with. Have you ever explored some ways of working it out? No? Well, if you'd like, I can take some time to talk it out and see what solutions might be available. Would you be okay with that? Sure. So, here's what I've come to be helpful with as far as self-doubt is concerned. First, I have found that positive affirmations can be quite helpful. And this could even be waking up each morning and repeating certain affirmations like, I am capable, I am worthy, or I believe in myself. It's important also to find an affirmation that resonates with you. It has to be more than words. It needs to be something that you believe in. Because I can believe it for you, sure. But there's going to be limits. And exploring what will fit you best will be part of the search. Another thing that we could try is challenging our negative thoughts. Sometimes we might just accept things to be what we believe them to be and hold those things to be true. Like what you've shared with me already. If you feel that way, who's going to be the one to talk you out of it? This is where challenging negative thoughts can be helpful. Asking questions like, is there evidence to support what I'm feeling or what I'm thinking? Or what would I say to a friend who had this thought? Imagine if our roles were reversed. What if I came to you feeling the way you're coming to me? What would you say to me? And how would you support me? Because I know that you would. I know that you would. We could also focus on our strengths. We all have strengths. Sometimes we focus far too much on our weaknesses. So it'll be important to remind ourselves, maybe even making a list, to remind ourselves of our strengths and accomplishments. And whenever we're feeling doubtful, it can be helpful to come back to this list. I've also come to learn that it's important to be realistic. Sometimes we want to do so much in such little time, or we have high aspirations for ourselves. But there could be a long road ahead before we ever get there. Being realistic and setting things for ourselves that can be achievable can help align with our own values and our own interests. We can break larger goals into smaller, more manageable steps. And in that way, we can feel like we're actually accomplishing something. Sometimes this is also called the snowball effect. Think of almost like a tiny ball of snow at the top of a mountain, not quite an avalanche, not all at once, but just starting off small and going down the mountainside, and as it's going along, it's collecting more and more and progressing, and as a result getting larger and larger and becoming an insurmountable snowball by the time it reaches the bottom. We can have this effect in our own brains, in our own minds. Starting small and achieving as we go along, and next thing you know it, we've made it. I also think it's important to practice self-compassion. Sometimes we want so much things to be another way that we don't give much time to remind ourselves to be kind, understanding. And I think this is especially true when we're struggling in whatever way. Reminding ourselves we're not human, or we are human, right? And as a result, like we spoke earlier, we're not perfect. You're not perfect. I'm certainly not. We can remind ourselves, hey, I'm doing the best I can. Or it's okay to make mistakes. What can we learn from them? And maybe in some ways, how can we make sure to try to be better tomorrow or the next day or even the day after? Another tool I've found to be helpful is getting feedback. Who are the people in your life who you trust, who can help you to grow and improve? Of course, I'm here for you. Sometimes it takes a village, and you have more support out there than you think, and you're certainly not alone. You're not alone. And much like with self-compassion, self-care is especially important. You know, I get it. Sometimes we're in a go, go, go mentality. We want to do things. We want to get things done. But sometimes if it's only that, it can be quite draining. And we might not even realize just how draining it can be. So finding for yourself what would be a good fit as far as self-care is concerned. You could exercise. You could meditate. Take a walk in the woods. Or find that hobby that you may have put down for some time and rediscover it. I think it's especially important to limit the comparison. Obviously, each of us can only exist in ourselves, and so it's natural to look at people and places outside of ourselves and think, gosh, they have that or they have this. And we forget that every journey is unique. And comparison to others fuels self-doubt. And so it's important to come back to ourselves and focus on our own progress and growth instead of comparing it to others. We don't know what other people are going through. So being kind is about the best thing we can be. And last, though certainly not least, as far as advice is concerned, is practicing mindfulness. Mindfulness includes deep breathing, meditation. The point is to stay grounded in the present. Oftentimes, self-doubt comes in, going back to the comparative thinking about all the ways that we aren't, maybe not just as far as others are concerned, but also for ourselves. Maybe there are things that we want more of, or we feel like we just aren't at the place that we want to be. And we feel like it's not okay. So, bringing it back to the present and not looking too far ahead. And you can see how, as I'm talking about this, the interrelation of some of these tools, setting small tasks for ourselves, allows us to be more present and focused, and giving ourselves time that when we complete those small things, that maybe we can make time for ourselves to relax and recharge and spend time together like we are right now. So, I hope that these tools will help you along, and of course, remember, I'm always here to help and support you, and of course I wish you the very best. And we'll stay in touch, and you let me know how things are going. And hopefully you'll come to find this newfound belief in yourself as much as I believe in you. So, we'll talk soon. And thanks for being my friend.